Good afternoon on this Sunday. 88 degrees right now, mid-afternoon in the Rose City. So I would say odds are good that Portland PDX is going to get up and hit 90 today. If so, it will become the third, we're counting, the third 90 plus degree day of this 2025 hot season. And typically we track 90s from May through September, although they can leak into October. So we'll see. My headline is a couple of heat advisories that basically extend from the Dalles out into the Columbia Basin the next 2 days. So this is a map on the left, the national blended model that shows you high temperature projections. And you look into this kind of whitish brick color. Notice 95, 94, 95, 93, 92, 94 up and down I-5 and up into Southwest Washington, 90 in Kelso, about 87 or so up in Seattle. So that is hot weather coming to the Willamette Valley and the I-5 corridor on Monday. And then you've got upper 90s, 98, 97, 99 when you get out toward Pendleton and out into the Columbia Basin. And for some, Tuesday will be another 90-degree day. So we'll get more into that. I am tracking right now, at least the chance that there could be some thunderstorms developing Friday, July 4th, this Friday, coming up from the south along the Cascades and moving over into central Oregon. So we'll give you an update on that. I am meteorologist Rod Hill coming to you from Vancouver, Washington on this sunny, becoming hot Sunday afternoon. Okay, as always, this is brought to you by the Momentous Wealth Podcast. Listen to these investment topics that you can select from on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Brought to you by a local firm, the one that I use for my retirement planning, Momentous Wealth Management, licensed here in Oregon and in Washington. Hey, the last time we talked, I showed you this. Of course, Tuesday is July 1. And the National Weather Service came out last week and they're projecting all of the West to be above normal temperature wise for the month of July. The highest confidence of being above normal is Salt Lake City up into Idaho. And again, this isn't necessarily the highest confidence of being that much more above normal. It's technically the highest confidence of just being above normal, period. So it doesn't really give you degrees, if you will. And if you look at the upper plains and Montana and the upper Rockies into Oregon and Washington, below normal precipitation. Now, here's the frightening part, is the word I'm going to use. When we have below normal precipitation outlooks for the months of July and August, that means models are trending for our region here in Oregon and up in Southwest Washington to basically see no rain or just a couple of days with any measurable precip. So, because below normal for us is like a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain at most for the entire month, and opens a door that we only get a trace, which can happen. So, we'll keep an eye on all of that. I also showed you this the last time we spoke. This is a projection for the American GFS looking out 30 days through July 30th, anyway, of where the upper level heat ridges or heat domes are going to set up for the coming month of July. And all of the models basically agree that the heat dome is going to set up anywhere from Texas to more likely over the four corners of Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. And then the question is, do we see hot ridging extending up the Rockies through Montana? And do we at times get thrown in to the backside of this heat dome? And if we do, then we could go on a couple of runs of, 4, 5, 6, 7, 90-degree days in a row. I will tell you the weather modeling right now through the 15th day of July only shows us potentially a couple of 90-degree days. So, if you don't really like the hot weather, I'm telling you, there is reason to believe that, maybe July's not going to take off and just get crazy hot. But the outlook is for us to be above normal. If you just look at the pressure heights tendencies, they're certainly high enough. And with that pressure ridging setting there, um, for us to go on a run. I'm just not seeing anything spelled out right now for a prolonged heat wave. Good news. Okay, the heat advisory, this is extended for, it goes into play tomorrow and Tuesday. Tomorrow and Tuesday. Not for the Willamette Valley. We're going to be about 90 today. We'll be up in the 90s tomorrow. The Weather Service may decide to put us under some sort of a heat alert for tomorrow, but as of Sunday afternoon, coming up on the 4 o'clock hour, they have not done that. They do have a heat advisory for east of the Dalles, east of Hood River. So this is for the Dalles out into the Columbia Basin. You can see the rest of it when I click on the Pendleton office. There it is. From the Dalles out into Pendleton, Hermiston, Walla Walla, and then, up into Moses Lake and that part of eastern and central Washington. So basically, the Weather Service is projecting temperatures at least 94, 95 in this heat advisory area to as warm as 102 degrees. Not a not overly extreme and not overly prolonged. We're talking about right now 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, and then things would probably be cooling off a little bit. These are the 3:30 obs. So Portland 88, 3:30 in the afternoon, and we're going to warm up 2 degrees between now and 5 p.m. Probably, right? So I'll be surprised if we don't hit 90. We've got 90 in Beaverton, Hillsboro. We've got 88 degrees down in Salem, 90 in McMinnville. Everybody's generally about 88 or hotter coming up on the 4 o'clock hour. Winds is north, northeast to northwest, generally 5 to 10 miles per hour. I'll show you the other temperatures coming up in just a moment, but I wanted to show you what was going on. Here's the national blended projection map I showed you to start for tomorrow, Monday. There are the mid 90s on average from Eugene all the way up into Portland, the 90-degree temperature in Kelso Longview, and the 86, 87 up around Seattle, and the nearing 100 degrees out in the Columbia Basin. So if I just play this now into Tuesday, notice how not as hot here on the west side. We could still have some 90s. This shows a 90-degree temperature around Salem on Tuesday, but generally the valley is 87, 88, 89. It also shows a 90-degree temperature down in parts of Lane County. So, but not as hot Tuesday as Monday. But the opposite is true when you get out to the Dalles and the east out in the Columbia Basin. All these spots that are expected to be 98, 99 on Monday, the model says 100, 102, 103, 103, 101. And then you've got mid 90s down in extreme southwestern Oregon. So, and you still got mid 80s up in Seattle. Still warm to hot, depending on where you are or what you consider to be hot, no question. And then everybody gets a cooling push. Well, let's go back and push this to Wednesday because I say everybody gets a cooling push Wednesday. Look at Wednesday, now down to the low 80s, up and down I-5, and at least holding in the 90s, 95, 97, 93 out in the Columbia Basin. There's actually a weak wave of some marine air as the flow pattern today and the flow pattern tomorrow at the surface is mostly north-northeast. Wednesday's the first day that the flow pattern gets more just coming in from the west. That will bring in some cooler marine air, and that's why those temperatures knock down. Okay. I want to show you the upper level flow pattern with positive vorticity, which is vorticity, a little cyclonic horizontal planes of rotation in the atmosphere that we call upper level disturbances. Here's an upper level low. This is tomorrow, Monday. And just note it's down there. It's going to produce some moisture in California. We don't think a lot of that gets up into Oregon. If it does, it's just southern Oregon. Very little change on Tuesday. But now here's Wednesday. See, there's a little energy, and there's reason to believe this does pick up with a threat of some thunderstorms in south central Oregon, maybe moving up primarily the east flank of the Cascades and up into central Oregon, a weakening thunderstorm threat. That was Wednesday. I don't see a whole lot Thursday, but now this is going to play into Friday. Let me back up. Okay, here's getting into the afternoon on Friday, July 4th. See, there's a little trough right here where you see the contours dip. And reasonably, that some of this action moves up into south central and eastern Oregon, maybe central Oregon, for a thunderstorm threat. Right now, I see all dry weather here on the west side, the coast, and the Willamette Valley up and down I-5 through the entire July 4th weekend forecast. I was eyeing the chance of some stormy weather. Right now, it all looks to be completely dry. So we'll see. Here are the other temps statewide, 97 down in Medford, and let's go around the horn. Medford, 100 degrees on Monday. Down in southern Oregon, this is showing a slight chance of some showers. And then not as bad Tuesday, 96, and by Thursday, you're back down to 88, and then you're pretty comfortable, really, close to 90 into the July 4th holiday weekend. Over in Bend, 96 on Monday, really hot in southern Oregon, or excuse me, central Oregon. Slight chance of storms Tuesday, and I think there's at least a chance of storms on Wednesday too. So we'll see. And then this keeps the storm action to the east as we go into the holiday weekend, and temps will be in the 80s. So that's really comfortable. Let's see what Pendleton shows. 99 tomorrow, heat advisory. 101 Tuesday, heat advisory. Cooling down somewhat Wednesday. And then not picking up that July 4th thunderstorm threat, which either they're just not factoring it in, or the thunderstorm threat they're looking at on their models, the National Weather Service, is south of Pendleton, more down into Baker County. We'll see. But there's 90, 92 into the holiday weekend. Okay. Up in Seattle, what we got? How about all sun? Yeah, how about that? It's summer. 83 Monday, 81 Tuesday, maybe a little bit warmer. And then certainly cooling down with that weaker marine, that more of a westerly marine push on Wednesday. It knocks temperatures down into the 70s. Okay. All right. Here's Salem. It's going to be all dry, it looks like. 90 this afternoon. The hot days Monday, 95. And then by Wednesday, we're back down to 82. It kind of goes along with what we've been saying. Eugene's going to be the same by Wednesday, 84, after a run of maybe 3 days and 90 degree temperatures in a row. North Bend looks like it's all 60s, primarily dry. Astoria, 70s this afternoon, 72 Monday, and then all 60s and primarily dry. Okay. Here's my 7 day forecast courtesy of Hazeldale Tire Pros up here in Clark County, the folks I use for all my tire needs. Highly recommend them if you live in Clark County off of I-5. All right. This afternoon, good chance we're going to make it to 90. It would be day 3 this summer, or this summer season, I should say, for heat. 94 tomorrow. I'm going to leave that. Not a record. The records are, you've got to get pretty close to 100 this time of the year to have a record. And then Tuesday, we take the edge of the heat off 87, and then the cool down continues on Wednesday, more of a westerly flow. Right now, I don't see anything that just looks like it's an obvious marine push of low clouds in the morning. But clearly, starting Wednesday, when we get that more of a westerly flow, could we have some low clouds? And if we do, could it be even cooler than I'm showing? Yeah, potentially. So we'll look for that Wednesday, Thursday. I've got 82 on Friday, Independence Day. And then I've got 83 on Saturday. All right. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. You will be notified when I post, and it helps me out too. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. I'll talk to you soon.